tell you about Kitty. Gonna let her play?
What is up, everybody? On today's episode, well, I want to show you guys Kitty because she is getting huge, so that is the main thing. But I also want to go to the greenhouse and address some questions and concerns I've been getting a lot of lately, give people a better idea of what the plan is and why we're doing things, how we're doing, what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. But while we're upstairs, I wanted to show some of the plants because for all you plant people and aeroid people, you probably got a pretty good idea what's going in there, but for everybody else, you probably have no idea. So these are some of our house plants, but a lot of them are going to go into the greenhouse. Like this Monstera deliciosa, this is most likely going to end up in the greenhouse because it is going to outgrow the house here. So this thing grows super big, awesome, pretty leaves. You can see it's putting out a new one right now. We got a bunch of different viney style plants, pothos and philodendrons, but we're going to mostly focus on aeroids and other rare plants, like this awesome Anthurium warrock here, this veitchii, this I don't even remember what this is, chrysalinum, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a bunch of cool plants. We got this mojito syngonium, I think super cool. Yeah, so kind of a combination of this type of stuff, but you'll see when it's in the greenhouse and everything's trailing up and growing huge mature leaves. It'll look really cool. Lately we've been focusing on building these moss bowls that helps the house plants trail up and they grow bigger leaves and they have more to root into. So we're gonna do a bunch of like false moss poles in the greenhouse so plants have somewhere to trail up. But yeah, we got this is another type of Monstera. I'm probably going to butcher the name, but Lechlariana. This is a Philodendron mayoi. This thing's super cool. Probably one of the first plants going in will be this Ploumanii. This thing grows super cool, big pretty leaves. But we got this Squamiferaum here, this Philodendron ring of fire. We got all kinds of cool stuff and we're going to be getting a lot more. So here very soon we're going to start moving plants over into the greenhouse. But let's go look at Kitty. I want to show you guys how big she's getting, so let's head downstairs. Zeppelin, I need your help, come on. Zeppelin, Zeppelin, come on. Zeppelin. So while we're down here, I guess you guys can check out the fish tank. All the fish have been getting huge. We were getting ready to move them into the pond. We just got to finish that mesh enclosure, but this one in the front you're looking at is probably 14, 15 inches. Like everybody, even the Ray, she's starting to get really big. So I know they are ready to move over. I'm ready to get them over, but like I said, right now I'm waiting on some money, saving up a little bit so we can finish building the little mesh enclosure for the pond and get them moved over. But today I want to show you Kitty. She is getting massive. So usually we get her out a lot and we even take her outside a lot and stuff, but it's winter time here. We can't take her outside, obviously. And she is getting so big that it's kind of hard to get her out in the house, especially with all the plants up there. She knocks everything over and destroys everything. So even when she does come out, I got to watch her real close. I can't just let her explore and do her own thing. And I feel bad that she's been cooped up, you know, and doesn't get to do a lot of exploring. So I got to thinking, I was like, man, the greenhouse is warm, the humidity's high, there's nothing in there she can destroy. So let's get her, let's put her in her little carry tote right here, and let's take her over to the greenhouse. And then while we're there, we can answer some questions and address some concerns. But yeah, wish me luck. Getting her into this tote is a pain sometimes, so let's get going on that, I guess.
Okay, Zep. Okay, I'm gonna go say hi. Do you need help?
No, I think I got her. Okay, went pretty good this time, so let's get her over to the greenhouse and I'll show you how big she's gotten. Okay, we're back at the greenhouse. We're gonna let Kitty loose here in just a second, but first I want to give you an update on the pleco over here. See, he pretty much spends all of his time just hiding under that log, but he has eaten a surprising amount of algae. And for some weird reason, I've named him Garbanzo. So yeah, little Garbanzo's in here. He seems to be doing great. All the plants seem to be doing good so far. The only thing is a lot of them are turning pretty yellow, and I think they've pretty much eaten up all the nutrients because the glass barely gets dirty anymore. Like the algae is not really growing anymore. It's kind of just staying what it is right now. So until I get a bunch of fish in here, I've been just ghost feeding. I did been throwing handfuls of pellets in here just so there's some nutrients for the plants to stay alive. But yeah, hopefully we can get everything built and get the fish in here soon, and then they should do just fine. So yeah, cool. I guess let's get Kitty out and see how she likes it in the greenhouse. Kind of excited. Our trusty snake hook in case she gets wily. Look at her, just doing a little nap. Explore, Kitty. You're free. She just doesn't want to go. I always feel bad bothering her too much, but so I think we can pretty much just let her explore wherever in here. I'll just watch her if she gets back by all the plumbing and stuff, and then try to keep her from getting under that lower deck part where it'd be hard to get her out, and keep her from getting inside the geothermal. But other than that, I'm just going to let her explore and enjoy herself for once, you know? So right now she's just under 13 foot and probably 50, 60-ish pounds. So she's getting pretty big, but her growth is definitely starting to slow down. She's getting to that age where her massive growth spurts are probably not going to see them much anymore. Look at her, you can tell she's just flicking her tongue like crazy. She's just exploring everything in here, checking it all out. You guys can see she is getting huge. She's definitely still got a lot of growing to do, but you can see why she would be a chore to have out in the house. So until summertime, I guess we'll just have to bring her over here to let her explore. Kitty has taken up camp underneath the deck. Doesn't want to go anywhere. So I guess we're just going to let her hang out for a little bit. And then if I have to, I'll crawl under here and get her later. Alright, so in the wild, retics love water. They spend a lot of time near and in the water. So I'm just going to see what she'll do. If she'll swim in the pond or not. I'm not going to put her in there, but if she decides to go on her own, then I think I'm just going to let her go for it. Except she's not. She's just going to go over there and get stuck around the tube. She does not go for a swim. This might be a bad idea. Okay, so Kitty loved the pond, which I don't know why, but I didn't expect that. I expected her to not want to get in the water, but she loved it. Now I'm all dirty and half wet, so let's answer some questions and get to some of the concerns. So Tiffany's got a list of questions we wrote down, the stuff we get comments of a lot, mostly on the TikTok, but some stuff on here and some on Instagram or just in person. But yeah, let's clear some things up. So I feel weird. It's like a weird little interview. What do you got?
So, are you worried at all about Kitty hurting Zeppelin, our dog?
Oh yeah, this is a good one. So Kitty hurting Zeppelin. I get it. This is a genuine concern from people, but they see me posting videos and pictures of her out in the house with him running around, and I always get the comment, she's going to eat your dog, she's going to eat your dog. Everybody thinks I'm an idiot, but for those that don't know much about snakes, the simplest way I can explain it is snakes have modes. Their behaviors are like a lot more predictable than mammals. And they can tell, like you can tell when you've been around snakes a lot, when they're in different modes. When they're being aggressive or defensive because they're scared is one mode. Feeding is one mode. Just curiosity and hanging out is one mode, you know? And they really do have telltale signs of that. So Kitty is awesome. She has an amazing temperament. And she doesn't eat anything that doesn't smell like rats or rabbits. Like I can't even get her to eat pigs or anything anymore because she'll just smell them and not recognize that they're food. So they go based off smell for the most part, but I'm always there when it's going on. Her and Zeppelin have always been good with each other. I'm always watching really close, so even though they are good with each other. And if her mode ever changed, and I ever saw any of her behaviors start changing to like food, then I would immediately stop and reassess the situation. You know, I wouldn't let our favorite dog in the world get eaten by a snake. I'm not that stupid. I know it seems reckless, but I promise we know what we're doing, and she is not going to eat Zeppelin. Also, the other thing is Zeppelin is really good with her. He is not an obnoxious dog. He does not get in things' faces. He's very smart and he understands not to go get right in her face. So he'll go very gently smell her sides and stuff like that. But yeah, he does a really good job. So if it was a dog that was kind of in her face and stuff like that, I probably wouldn't do it. But yeah, so not a concern, I promise. You guys might not believe me, but it is. She is not going to eat Zeppelin. Zeppelin is safe and she is safe. Next question.
What's the cost of the greenhouse so far?
Oh yeah, so the cost of the greenhouse. So at first we did a really good job of keeping track of every little thing, and then I got carried away and I stopped doing such a good job. But for the most part, we are overall at about $30,000 so far. So it seems like a lot of money, but if we'd have paid contractors to do this for us, it would be significantly more, I'm sure. And yeah, you can see in some of my older like TikTok and Instagram videos, I break down the costs when we were first building it, like every little thing. But basically, the pond is about 10,000 of it, and everything else. This is including utilities, like everything run out here. Everything that you see so far is roughly $30,000, probably like 29 something right now. So, next question.
Are you rich?
Ooh, am I rich? Yeah, I guess that's a good question after that. But no, I am not rich. I would not consider myself rich at all. I make decent money, but really the thing is I just spent a lot of time working my butt off for the last 5 or so years to pay off all my debt. So I do not have a lot of bills. And the other thing, for those that don't already know, this greenhouse is not at my property. It's at my parents' house because at the time I built it, I didn't have a house. I didn't own a house of my own. I was still renting and living with a bunch of roommates and stuff, so I was living super, super cheap and spending literally like every dollar of my spare money on this greenhouse and the animals. So really, I'm just super, super dedicated. It has like overwhelmed my life. I spent every bit of extra money I have on it. And like I said, if I was paying my mortgage right now, I wouldn't be able to afford to build it from scratch again. So it's kind of I took an opportunity when I had it. The downside is it's not in my house now that I have one, but that's okay. My yard probably wouldn't have room anyway. So luckily I have amazing parents and they let me build it here. So super helpful, but yeah, now I'm just working on spending all my extra money at it. So it's the reason videos have been a little bit slow lately. Work has been slow. I haven't been getting much overtime, but that will pick up here soon and we'll be back to working on it at least every other weekend or so. But we're doing what we can in the meantime. So next question.
Are you worried about mold happening in the geothermal?
Okay, so am I worried about mold happening in the geothermal? No, I am not even remotely worried about it. That was I don't know, a lot of people were concerned with that when I first set up the geothermal, but I believe, I could be wrong on this, but pretty much mold happens with stagnant air and humid conditions. The geothermal never ever stops. There's constantly a large amount of air flowing through it. So as long as that is happening, there will not be mold. If it like stopped or it just stayed with stagnant humid air, we would definitely have mold problems. But yeah, the constant airflow, I'm pretty sure if we dug this up, like around those pipes, it's probably dry, I bet, because it is a lot of air going through there. So no, I am not even remotely worried about mold. It has been set up for over a year now, and I can go stick my face right in the end of it. It does not smell moldy or anything at all, so don't think that's going to be a problem. But yeah, how we prevent mold, constant airflow. And that's how the greenhouse will work too. It's going to be super humid and wet in here. So that's really no different. And how we're going to combat that is by having circulation fans. So sorry if I keep looking all over too. Kitty's just still hanging out exploring, so I'm kind of keeping an eye on her, making sure she doesn't get into any trouble back there. So yeah, no mold, not worried about it. Next question.
Speaking of the geothermal, does it heat the greenhouse well?
Well, yeah, so does the geothermal heat the greenhouse well? It helps, but as a primary source of heating, there's no way it would stay in the 70s or 80s in the wintertime with the geothermal. So I don't have a baseline because I never had a greenhouse without the geothermal. So that's kind of the hard thing. I can't really say how much it does and how much it doesn't, but I will say before we had the heater and stuff installed, the greenhouse stays about 20 to 30 degrees warmer than outside. But that depends. If we had like 4 days where there was no sun at all, then it really wouldn't do that much at all. If we have really sunny days, it does a lot. I think more than anything, it's going to help me cool it in the summertime, and then it just helps the amount of money I have to spend to heat it. I think it basically just, I don't know, just helps out, but it's definitely not the primary source. So I don't want to mislead people and make them think if you build a greenhouse with geothermal, you're going to be able to grow fruit in wintertime. Like, it's just not realistic if you experience bad winters like we do. So, next question.
Speaking of bad winters, how does this thing hold up to wind and snow?
So, I was really worried about that at first too, because I didn't find, sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm like watching Kitty real close. But I didn't know, I kind of designed this myself. I found some similar designs online, and then I tweaked them and spent years researching stuff and figuring out exactly how I wanted to do this, but it was not done by an engineer, so I was worried about that. But we built everything as sturdy as we possibly could. I suspected I wouldn't have any issues, and it's been up for, year and a half, almost 2 years now, and we have had some pretty bad storms, especially lately. Like, we got like 14 inches of snow in one day. Not a single issue. The snow just melts and falls right off it, especially now that it's heated. So snow is not an issue. And then a lot of people are concerned about wind, which I was too at first. But we have had some storms with gusts up to 60 miles per hour and sustained wind at like 45, 50 miles per hour, and it literally is not an issue. I've sat up there on the deck and watched it in the windstorms, and it like doesn't even budge. Like, the plastic doesn't even wrinkle, like nothing. So I think the trick to that is having the double layer of plastic and having it inflated so it's got tension on it. I think if it was just one layer of plastic loose, it would be a lot easier for the wind to damage it, because if it caused like wrinkles that rolled through it, it could cause tears fairly easily. But yeah, being inflated so far, we have not had any issues. I suspect that it could hold up to winds quite a bit higher without being a problem. So, okay, next question.
The boardwalk we built is really large. Why did we do it so big?
Oh yeah, so I've been getting that comment a lot too. Tons of people are saying I wasted all the space with the boardwalk. All right, pause. We gotta get Kitty. I just want to keep her from going under this lower deck area right here. Hello. See? So I was talking about snake behavior. See that slow tongue flick? And her, see, she's just smelling right now. If she was acting defensive, she would have that defensive posture. Or if she's gonna eat, she would be just acting a bit different. I'd be able to tell. But yeah, this is gonna be a problem. I might have to put her away and then resume the interview. We'll see. Send her over here. She's gonna go right back to the same spot.
She has such a one-track mind.
She does. All right, where were we? We were talking about the boardwalk, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get a lot of people saying that we wasted so much space with the boardwalk, and they're not completely wrong. This did take up quite a bit of space, but we did it for a reason. Like, we're not growing vegetables and crops in here. We're not trying to, this isn't supposed to be an extremely efficient use of space. It's a display. So whatever we can do to make it look good and be an enjoyable experience for people is what we want to do. We're not trying to limit the amount of space we use so we can get maximum crop production, you know? So it's just kind of a different thing. People are used to seeing greenhouses, so they automatically assume if I'm doing something that's not what's normally done in a greenhouse that it's wrong. But for what we did, it makes a lot of sense to have a big boardwalk. This is going to be a giant, gorgeous jungle display. I'm going to have groups of people coming to do tours in here and showing it to people. I want room for them and their kids to walk around and see things. I want room for people to stand in here. And another thing is we wanted it to be wheelchair accessible. So if it was super tiny and skinny, I don't think we would feel safe getting a wheelchair in and out of here and being able to turn them around back here. And Kitty's underneath the boardwalk again, so cut again. Alright, wasn't paying attention and she almost got under the deck. The one spot where I said I don't want her to go. She's smart, she knows. She's like, you don't want me to go there? Must be worth going there. I feel you, Kitty. I've felt that way before, but look how fun it is up on top here.
She's like,
She's
nope.
not having it. Okay, we have to just put Kitty away for a minute so we can finish this, and then we'll let her explore a little bit more. But yeah, basically the boardwalk, this is to be a display for multiple people to be in here and wheelchair accessible. So it's just not a farm that we're trying to use every bit of space we have. I'd rather have it look cool, and I think the boardwalk was a very good trade-off for space. I think it was totally worth it. So next question.
Are the snakes eventually going to live in the greenhouse? So, like, is Kitty going to live in here?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. So are the snakes going to live in the greenhouse? I get that one a lot. But no, none of my snakes I have now are going to come into the greenhouse. And the animals that are going to be in here, I mean, they're going to be predators, but mostly smaller things like geckos, frogs, tree frogs, dart frogs, anoles. Like, the biggest thing I'm going to have is probably going to be some chameleons. I'll probably only have a couple of them. And then I might eventually do like an Asian vine snake or something like that, but I'm still on the fence if I even want to do that. We'll see how all the little lizards and stuff do good first. Or see how good they do first. But yeah, I don't want any big predators in here, and I don't want something to weigh 60 pounds in here that's going to flatten and destroy all my plants. So no, snakes aren't going to be in here. Oh yeah, also I want it to be very family friendly. I don't want people to come in here and have to be scared of certain animals, you know? So we're going to stick to small, cute animals for the most part. So next question.
What happens if the power goes out?
Oh yeah, that's a great one. So what happens if the power goes out? We have thought about that, and it's something I need to prioritize and work on soon before I start getting a lot of animals and plants in here. But we're planning on getting a generator with an automatic transfer switch. So certain things will be prioritized, and if the power goes out, it'll automatically switch, kick on the generator, and then run certain things like, say, the heater and the pond pump and fans and stuff like that to keep it cool. So we do have plans to have measures for if the power does go out, especially if it goes out for an extended period of time. But in the meantime, we have a generator and we know what would need to be plugged in. So we would just have to come out here and manually do it. And like I said, this is my parents' house, and my dad is retired, so he is almost always available. So if I was at work or something I needed, he could come do it. And then if not, Tiffany works from home most of the time, so she is also available to do it. So right now that's how we're doing it. But yeah, soon enough, automatic transfer switch and a generator. So we already thought of that. We're ready to go. Not ready, but we will be. So next question.
How are you going to fertilize all the plants?
Okay. How am I going to fertilize all the plants? So I'm still learning this as I go. This has been my biggest concern throughout the whole process pretty much, because obviously I can't use fertilizers. I'm going to have amphibians and frogs and stuff, you know, so no chemicals, no anything in here. So the plan is basically to just create a healthy living soil. So sorry if there's planes and stuff in the background, but it is what it is. I can't wait for all of them. They're always going on here. But yeah, basically I'm going to create a living, composting, healthy soil. So I'm going to add things like wood chips and different stuff like that. And then I'm going to have living microorganisms that break them down and create nutrients for the plants. So much easier said than done. I'm sure I will have some failures along the way and some hard learning curves, but I'm pretty much setting it up to start as well as we can, and then I'm going to have to monitor it and make sure that dirt is staying healthy. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take dirt samples and send them off to labs and get counts of different microorganisms, so I know if the dirt is starting to get out of whack somewhere, I can fix it in advance. So pretty much we will add certain food for certain microorganisms to promote them to grow, to do certain things, you know. So like if we need more mycorrhizal fungi, we will add different wood and stuff like that, you know, like wood chips and mulch. But yeah, so basically just going to try to simulate as much of a natural ecosystem as we can to avoid using any chemical fertilizers. So easier said than done though. So you guys will see how it goes with me, I guess. We're winging it. But next question.
Okay, this is the last question. Can people come see the greenhouse?
Can people come see the greenhouse? So, of course. That is like the point we're building this greenhouse. We want to be able to share it with other people. We want to do tours. I want people to be able to do little field trips here and stuff. I'm going to reach out to charter schools. I'd love to do educational stuff here. And yeah, but it is not quite ready for everybody to come see. I'm hoping it will be to that point by the end of this year sometime, at least to start doing some stuff. But in the meantime, we are in northern Utah. If you are in northern Utah and you really want to see it, or you want to come pick my brain in person, you're welcome to. Reach out to me. Probably on Instagram would be your best bet at a.life.exotic. But yeah, people are definitely going to be able to come see it. I want to be able to share this with as many people as I can. So this is not just something I'm doing for myself. I want to be able to do educational stuff. I want it to be something that other people can enjoy and learn from and give their suggestions. So that is the last question. So I'm sure there's a million more other stuff that we missed. But if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop down in the comments and make sure you let me know your questions. If we get enough questions, we will definitely do another video like this. In the future, we would like to do live streams while we're working on stuff so people can ask questions, because I'm fully transparent in this process. And I think the more I get the opportunity to explain stuff to people, the more you guys can see the vision that I'm going for, you know? It's easy to kind of look at what I'm doing and be confused by it. I don't always do the best job explaining everything, but yeah, I don't know. If you have questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. I try to be super, super responsive, reply to comments, everything. So let me know if you have any more, but I don't know. What else? That is probably going to be it for this video. So we're going to let Kitty hang out for a little bit. We're going to sit here and enjoy ourselves. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you please subscribe to the channel. Like I said, comment down below. Like this video. And we're going to try to get a lot more put out soon. Mesh enclosure built for the pond. Water heater. We're going to get plants out here. We're going to redo our plant cabinet for mini orchids and start getting some of our carnivorous plants. And then we're going to get ready for animals out here. So coming very soon. And most of all the fish are getting put in the pond soon. So stay tuned. We got some cool content coming out. I'm out of here.